because you come out thinking that was a good performance. That were, you know, I haven't wasted anything going to see that.
So if you give it a star rating, 1 to 5, what would you give it?
It won't be like flawless, so it's got to be a 3, 4, more towards 4 than 3.
Right.
Because of the reasons that, you know, there's so much you can say about it, like, you know, bits and parts were really cheesy. They, you know, because I suppose I was.
But was that intentional?
Yeah, I think so. But you know, I suppose I'm looking at it in a completely drama, like, critical view.
Right.
I'm going in, like, you know, like I said, I was expecting something else. Yeah, you go and expect something, so you come out thinking, well, that wasn't what I was expecting. Not in a bad way, but, you know, for a rating of 5, I was expecting, like, this awesome dramatic show, which it wasn't, but it was.
But if you went in expecting a circus performance, entertainment of what you've tried to describe, would you have been pleased?
Oh, definitely, would have been like 100% pleased. But I suppose there's more to go on. I've never really been to, like, an acrobatic, you know, kind of themed show.
You've seen circuses on telly, perhaps?
Yeah, like, you know, I've seen, like, on TV, but I've never been to one, and I suppose I came out thinking it was awesome. If you go in expecting, like, this, you know, big acrobat, you know, big show, then you would, obviously, I suppose you would rate it a lot more higher.
So just so that people who didn't see it know the sort of things that they included, could you sort of run through some of the things they did and then pick out the highlights, the bits that you liked best?
I really enjoyed this one point, and there was, like, a bike hanging from the ceiling, and he climbed onto the bike upside down.
Right.
And he, like, rode the bike upside down, and then they filmed it. Basically, they put it on, projected it onto the big screen, but flipped it around as if he was actually riding the bike real life.
Right.
So he was upside down. You watched him upside down, but they flipped it on the big screen behind them as if it was him just, like, normally riding a bike. And the things that he did was, like, he would climb on top of, like, the handlebars. Sorry, yeah, the handlebars. But really, he was obviously on the floor because
hanging from them.
Yeah, well, it looked like he was, like, you know, on them, but he was, like, there, actually on the floor, like, putting his hands on. So he'd, like, take one hand off, and then take the other hand off, and he'd pretend like he's flapping in the air, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So in the way as that, it was.
And all the while with a cheesy grin. And a wink to the audience.
Yeah. I said to some of the guys, like, I think it was very Butlins. Like, you go there and you expect, like, you know, it's like this massive, spectacular, over-the-top show, but you can't come away thinking, no, that was rubbish at all.
Did they try to squeeze any sort of, I'm asking you now, the same question I asked Becky about, if you were to direct the piece, bearing in mind it's very circus, it's very acrobatic, did they try to squeeze any sort of plot, storyline, anything else apart from just the gymnastics?
Yeah, they did. Obviously, they added in, I think it was 2001, one of the twins, they had, like, an accident.
Right.
And he fell off, like, this big wheel during one of the shows, and it hit all the papers, obviously, where they come from, I think Poland or Germany, one of the two.
Yeah.
So that they touched on that as if, like, he had died, and I don't know the gods who they were. Do you know who they were? I really can't remember.
Castor and Pollux.
Yeah, those.
The Gemini twins.
Yeah, they touched on that as if, like, you know, they got sent up to in between Earth and heaven, and, like,
a spooky parallel to the myth, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it was good. They really touched on that, and it was a lot of symbolism in there, you know, to show that they really had this really strong brotherly connection.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of it was cheese. A lot of it was. But yeah.
So some of the other things, you mentioned the bike, just sort of hit some of the other sort of chapters of the story, if you like.
One bit that I didn't enjoy, if they basically, a big water bowl came on stage, and they would, like, swim around in it. If they had left it as if it was, like, a water show, you know, they brought a big water bowl and it was going to just be a bit of, like, a water show kind of thing for the last, like, you know, the finale, it would have been absolutely fine. But the image they put on before that was them two in the womb. That's, like, how they first had their first, like, thing. So to me, the only thing that was in my mind was that this was a symbolism. This is symbolism of, like, them inside a womb.
Right.
And to see, like, 28-year-old blokes swimming around in a womb together, it's just not the image that you wanted to see. But it was like, you know, it's all fun. They all have fun. They were splashing the audience.
I'm going to prompt you now because I saw it. I'm going to prompt you now with the computer game thing. Did you like that?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. But I was talking to Joe about it. They basically reenacted like a computer warrior game. And Joe, I was expecting when they started fighting, I was expecting a lot more. Not as in like punching each other fighting, but more of like an acrobatic show, whereas they would intertwine like, you know, fake fighting but then do something with it, not just go, you know, with like sticks, like pretend they're hitting each other. I was expecting more of like, you know, how some like, you watch like people on TV, like I remember watching it on Britain's Got Talent, that strike,
yeah.
And they like would fight but they'd roll and like they weren't actually like hurting each other, but they would like really go for it, but all they did was seem to run up to each other, do like a bit of a backflip, and
right.
It just wasn't
nice idea, but could have gone further.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's sort of the next question then. If you were to direct the piece, might that be one of the things that you'd type up?
I would just, you know, obviously say, because obviously I can't push to what, you know, is their talent. If they're not combat fighting kind of, you know, acrobats, then you can't be like, you've got to do that. I suppose I would take out some of the symbolism. I think there was too much of it. I just think nice that they went on like the, you know, the Greek kind of theme, really really worked. But I think take out some of the stuff like, you know, how you like reshaped your brother. You know, you made him, you brought him back to life, and like, you know, the womb bit definitely. It just don't. Some of it wasn't needed.
And what was the most magical part of the performance?
I really enjoyed the. I actually like the bits when they weren't together. I don't know. I think it showed off more of their talent.
I see.
Just because when they were together, it got the whole crowd going.
Yeah.
But equally, when they were apart, they still managed to hold up the stage. You know, they still had their own stage presence, and they still, you know, kept the crowd going. And they both did each individual part, but they were both awesome doing it.
And they seemed to enjoy themselves, did they?
Yeah, they just loved it. They put on a show for themselves and for the audience.
So would you recommend it to whom and why?
Anybody, to be honest. Like we say, we went in there without.
I think some people wouldn't enjoy it.
Yeah, some people wouldn't. If you go in there expecting a big, you know, dramatic piece of theatre, you won't enjoy it. If you go in there with an open mind, you go in there. If you're a fan basically of, you know, the big cheesy shows kind of thing. If you're the kind of even if you're like not a major fan, I think you'd still go in there and you'd still enjoy it, don't you think? You'd still go in if you're even like a slightest fan of, like, you know, you like people on stage that are gonna have a laugh, involve the audience, then you'd still enjoy that. I think it's appealing to anyone. Like, it just goes to show that a girl, she must have been about what, 1 behind us, and she was laughing along. So it goes to show that it can be in, like, you know,
any age, but then within the age, some people wouldn't.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Good. Thank you very much. Right, say goodbye to our viewers.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Thanks.
Enjoy your meeting.